after the sweeping curves and undulating corners over in America last week. The Greddy Cooper Z League finds itself over in Japan for round 3 of the league here at Tsukuba Raceway. I'm Jack TM53 Synopsis, your commentator as always on Thursday night console leagues here with NXTGEN Racing. And what a track to be racing around, a very tight, twisty technical circuit, not full of much undulation as opposed to Laguna Seca last week, but certainly a challenge for the drivers in these, firstly Fugu Z cars and then later on in that Mini Cooper. So we'll see how the drivers get on as we see Suburtis just coming round in the penultimate corner at the hairpin there in that classic liveried yellow hat car. Let's have a look then through the drivers' standings. If we go back through, now of course you have to remember in this Greddy Cooper Z League it's more than just one championship going on. There are 3 championships in the title running, so let's have a look and a run through those. Top 5 of the Fugu Z League currently, which we were just on board with, but we're just getting ourselves ready now for qualifying. First place overall, Ruddo 24, he's on 43 points after his win last week at Laguna. Second is Swargy 98, who got pole and fastest lap last week. He's only on 39, 4 points behind. Only 4 points behind is Swargy. Matty Rudd is third on 30 points. Bruce Lee Harden is fourth, joint with JPH 99. They're both on 25 each. That is the top 5 of the Fugu Z League. 10-minute qualifying just underway here in Japan. And in terms of the Mini Cooper Championship, Ruddo leads the way in that one. He's on 43 points again. He won fastest lap last week, of course. Bruce Lee Harden is second on 36. Swargy 98 is third on 30 points. Matty Rudd is fourth on 26, and D Hartley 79 rounds out the top 5 on 24 points. Obviously Ruddo and Bruce Lee Harden having a wonderful fight for the race lead on that final lap, of course, around the American circuit. So Bruce Lee will be out to get revenge, of course, in these cars. We'll see how he gets on tonight. The overall tallies, let's go through those. Ruddo 24 leads the entire Greddy Cooper Championship. He's on 86 points currently. Swargy is his nearest rival after 4 races over 2 rounds. He's on 69 points. Bruce Lee is third on 61. Matty Rudd is fourth on 56 points. JPH 99 is fifth on 45 with D Hartley 79 joint, 6th on 42 points with Snav. 8th place is Silver Fox 40 on 36. Rin 00 is 9th on 26 points, and Tim rounds out the top 10 on 24. We've got a couple of drivers who aren't in tonight currently that I've seen so far. I haven't seen Nath 1981 out on circuit as of yet, but maybe he will return. So the drivers now already out on their initial runs. Let's see, we're following with Ruddo at this current moment in time. So he gets on, he comes around this long sweeping final corner. Really difficult to get right in these Fugu Z cars. The super soft tyres not allowing much slip going through the corner, and he sets a 56.3 in the initial openings. Matty Rudd right there with him, of course, a 56.4. Tim next up in his newly liveried Fugu, and that is a 58.1 from Tim. Bruce Lee slots himself into third with a 57.1. Good lap time that from Tim, actually. Only a second off the back of Bruce Lee Harden. Here comes Danzo round that final corner. 57.4 puts himself in between Bruce and Tim. Swargy is also out on circuit at the moment. Silver Fox 40 up into 4th place. Swargy goes P1. I did see his name vault up the leaderboard. It's good news for Swargy. See if he can get himself back in the championship hunt. 2nd place overall in the championship currently. 2nd in the Fugu Championship as well. Suburtis yet to set a lap time. D Hartley has. He's the penultimate driver in the tally so far. Bertus there coming around this final corner. Obviously a reference back to the old Supra back in the day with Suburtis. He runs very wide out the final corner, but the Dutch driver goes 8th. Half a second clear of Tim. And D Hartley must have had a spin on his most recent lap time, so let's watch him coming through this final corner. Like I said before, difficult corner to get right on board with the driver. Ooh, and he just goes a little bit wide, but pulls the car back in for D Hartley. You can see he has to take a little bit of a lift, and a 57.4 for D Hartley. Number 79 driver just getting to grips with everything currently, even into Jordan, Just commented. Snav out on circuit now as well. But Swargy leads the way at the moment. 56.3 is best lap, 8 thousandths of a second quicker than Ruddo 24, who's just coming around this final corner. And he sets himself the provisional pole time of 56 flat from Ruddo 24. Great effort from him. Back on the front of the grid. But Swargy will want to respond back to that. Let's see what he does as he comes around the final corner. On the brakes, down into 84 miles an hour realistically. Then gets back on the power slowly but surely. And around the corner he goes. And he goes slower this time around. A 56, free score in 6 on that lap. Bruce is in third place. He's got himself wedged between Matty Rudd and Swargy. There's Hartley up to 5th now, so improving all the more. Much better from him. There's JPH in the Boyd Transport racing car. Going a little bit quicker on this lap. There's Danzo chucking the car through what is a great right-hander in the middle sector of this circuit, going through, of course, turn number 5. Down the approach towards turn 8. Danzo just runs a little bit deep out of turn 8. Might give the opportunity for Swargy to get a bit of a slipstream. The two Rudds are now together, first and second. We're going to actually ride on board for a lap with Swargy. Here we come into the final corner, turn 9. Around this long, everlasting right hand. They've got to be so patient with the throttle. 56.1, Swargy gets himself back in. On the brakes then, down into third gear, past Tim on the left-hand side. Briefly blips the car into second, then back into third. We're following Danzo in front of us. Nice so far, even though he runs it slightly over the curb. Through a very quick turn 2, and then braking at turn 3, trying to straighten the corner up as much as possible. Down into second for turn 4, flicks the late apex and runs it wide over the curb. Then a quick jaunt through turn 5 over that curb on the inside of the wall. Swargy just runs a bit wide, and off into the wall he goes. Straight over to Danzo on the brakes, down into turn 8. Danzo gets his car turned in nicely, and then up through the gears, up to 5th gear potentially on the approach towards turn 9, this final corner. Will Danzo get there? He doesn't. 120 mile an hour, chucks the car in. You can see the back end kicking out with those racing super soft tyres, of course. 3rd gear up into 100 mile an hour, across the line. It's a 56.9 from Danzo, but Swargy just pushing the limits there, and you can see the difference in styles between Danzo and Swargy just in that brief window that we had as Danzo hits the wall. This is the thing to say, is that the circuit is so narrow on these tyres, it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to get it right. Great committed action from Silver Fox 40 as he flies through turn 5, through turn 6 and 7. That little left-hander you saw there, that is absolutely a corner. Berth is just at the back of the queue here in terms of the top 10, as Tim in 11th place, only 2 seconds off the pace, which is good to see. Ruddo pushing himself, trying to get a bit more of an advantage. Matty Rudd has gone fastest, a 56 flat. It's a great effort from the purple car there. He's in the pits currently. He's 3 thousandths of a second faster than Ruddo 24. That's incredibly close. There's a cone out on circuit. But Swargy in 3rd place. Look how wide he runs at the final corner. 56.165, just a touch slower than his best. Will anyone get into the 55s? That's exceptionally close between the top 3. Bruce Lee's right there in 4th position. I know it says 3rd for those that are watching for the first time, but Matty Rudd has returned to the pits. He has set the fastest lap. But less than 2.5 minutes to go in the session now, and the Freddo driver needs to find a little bit more speed. He almost does so with a 56.4. D. Hartley, Snav, good showing from Snav in the top 6. JPH, Danzo, Silver Fox 40. Bertis just giving the car a bit of a boot out of turn 1. Through turn 2 down to turn 3, and then on the brakes turn 4. Ooh, big slide from Subertis, fun to watch during these qualifying runs. Then there's Tim, just getting his car round that turn 4 corner through turn 5. Tim doing quite well so far in this session. What I would say for Tim is maybe attack the curves a little bit more. He can do so in this Fugu around this circuit. That's where he's losing just a little bit of time. But it's down to Ruddo and Swargy to respond, and Ruddo's doing so in this first sector. This would be enough to get him into the 55s. Riding on board, bonnet cam with him. Through turn 5, through turn 6. Couldn't put the power on properly. Then on the brakes, down in through turn 7, into turn 8, this penultimate corner here. Ruddo is going just a little bit quicker. He's 5/100ths of a second up compared to his personal best, which would put him in pole position. If he can keep it up through this final corner. On the brakes now, down into 81, 82 miles an hour. See how long he has to wait before he puts the throttle on completely. He gets towards the line. Oh, and he just misses out by 3/100ths of a second. Good evening to Hirokram, who's watching. Saying, would have liked this combo. Absolutely, he should have done. He would have absolutely loved it round here, Hirokram. But Ruddo, on his final lap, Swargy looked like he was on a purple sector there. What about Swargy? Can do anything? He can't. Bruce Lee can't do anything currently. JPH has stopped out on circuit. Bit of a peculiar one. I know he's trying to get the comments in, but see how he... There we go. So finish your current lap. So a couple of drivers in front of Silver Fox. I know that Subursus is one of them. It looks like Bruce Lee in front. So this is his final lap. Oh, Bruce Lee. Oh, sideways do you want to go through the final corner? He's not going to improve, but that was a bit of entertainment. Bursus, he comes around the final corner. Is he going to improve? He doesn't. Stays in 9th place. Silver Fox 40 doesn't improve. Danzo well around the circuit currently. D. Hartley, he'll be the next one to see the checkered flag. What's his lap time? He's been pushed down to 7th. He only ends up in 7th place as it stands. Snav gets to the line. No improvement from him. Swargy, no improvement. Ruddo's seen a checkered flag, and Matty Rudd is your pole position man for the first time this season. Great effort from him. 3/1000ths of a second. That's an incredibly close qualifying session. I have to say, that could be one of the closest ever in Next Gen history for pole position margins. 3/1000ths of a second, but that is a great effort from him. So well done, Matty Rudd, his first pole position of the season. Rudder's going to have to be content with 2nd. Swargy's 3rd. Bruce Lee Harding in 4th position. Snav going the wrong way. D. Hartley committing to some donuts there, and JPH just trying to squeeze his way through. But what a great qualifying session that was. The top 10 almost covered by 1.1 seconds, but we're about to start the race. So here we go. So, race 1 here at Tsukuba. It's Matty Rudd on the right hand side in that purple Greddy Fugu Z car. Ruddo on the left hand side in the black and gold. Watch out for Swargy and Bruce Lee Harden on the 2nd row. We can't see the lights, so we'll have to see who gets the best start based visually. 20 minutes though on the right hand side. Let's see these starts. And the race is live here from Tsukuba. Looks like a really good start from the 2nd row of the grid from Bruce Lee. He's challenging Ruddo going into turn 1. Matty Rudd had a great start as they approach this first turn 1 corner. Bit of lag from JPH, but gets away with that. And Ruddo holds on to his 2nd position. So all looks quite neat currently between everyone. I say that, Danzo just on the grass in the background. And it's Ruddo, Bruce Lee, Snav. Great start from Snav. He's up to 4th. Swargy's gone backwards from the start. Not a great effort from him. He's down to 8th. He's trying to fight alongside Silver Fox 44, 7th place. A little bit of leaning on one another. And Swargy can't do anything. He's got Burtis challenging him now. Coming through turn 6. He's on the outside line is Burtis. Going into turn 8. On the brakes. Swargy just about keeps his momentum up and keeps hold of 8th position, but down the grid has Swargy fallen, unfortunately. JPH though in 5th position. Snav with a great start. He's in 4th, right behind fellow family member of his in third. Ruddo's are fighting hard, and it's Matty Rudd who leads the way for the first time this season. Ruddo just tracking him through turn 1. It's a very tricky circuit to overtake on. Tsukuba very tight and technical. Ruddo's going to have to be creative with his manoeuvres to get past on the brakes down into turn 4. Ooh, runs into the back of Matty Rudd a little bit. Bruce Lee will be happy with this. He'll want to hope that he can capitalise on these two fighting hard, and Snav and JPH will be thinking, what can they do next? Can they just work together, keep on the back of the leading trio? There's Silver Fox, and it's Swargy up to 7th. Bertis, D. Hartley, Danzo and Tim all fighting together. And this is where it comes down to the drivers making sure that they're able to keep their patience. Ooh, Danzo runs a little bit wide going into the final corner. Wondering if Tim can get on the throttle early enough. Tim sideways through that final corner, couldn't quite work his way through. But it's all line astern at the moment, with Snav getting a tail out in that Betty Swallock's car. It's Bruce Lee all over the curb going through turn 4. Unique line. Has to be said, we're right on board with him as he power slides the car through turn 5. No tyre wear, of course, in this league, so Bruce can slide to his heart's content. Oh, the brakes down into second gear. Bruce Lee just looking at little gaps, little different lines. Didn't lose out as much as I thought he was going to then either. Down into third gear for Bruce. You see the difference between Matty Rudd and Ruddo taking 4th gear as opposed to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee has fastest lap at the moment. Snav there now fighting with JPH and Silver Fox 40. Oh, JPH just getting out a little bit wrong into turn 140. He's going to slide into the back of his family member there. Silver Fox, and it's Swargy, and it's D. Hartley. Danzo. Look at Tim and Suburtis fighting over that final spot in the top 10. Really having a good fight, these two currently. And Tim will be learning as he drives along. Ooh, he chucks the car through turn 5. Gets that line a little bit wrong. Just drops off the back of Suburtis and naturally picks up a penalty as Bertis almost ends up in the gravel trap. You can see that the straights aren't long enough for the Fugu to stretch its legs, really. You can see the different lines being used by Ruddo and Matty Rudd. Matty Rudd taking a deeper entry into the corner, but then tightens it up, gets the throttle on earlier. Ruddo doing it the inverse way to that, keeping it tight, letting it wash out. Bruce Lee just trying to hold on and hang on to the back of the two Rudds currently. And Bruce Lee also trying to deal with a penalty there as well as he slides the car through turn number 5. And this Snav in 4th, JPH there in 5th position. Swargy's got in front of Silver Fox 40, we haven't seen that on track. But Swargy's recovery as he goes into the grass at turn 8 puts him now up into 6th position. Danzo in 9th place, there's Bertis. Tim a little bit further back, but he's still right there, just hanging on. And Matty Rudd with a new fastest lap of 56.1. Almost within 2/10, well, within 2/10 now of his pole position second lap time. And they've both managed to stretch a little bit of a gap out to Bruce Lee Harding. Those two potentially working together, maybe tracking one another. Trying to get away from Bruce Lee, a little bit of a wiggle. Coming out of turn 4 for that Bruce there. It's Snav, JPH and Swargy. This is now a trio. Fighting over the same piece of tarmac. Silver Fox 40 there in 7th place. D. Hartley's there in 8th. There's Danzo, that's Bertis and Tim. These two just running away at the front at the minute. It's a good run from Ruddo coming out of the final corner. And a new fastest lap from Ruddo, a 56.026. He might have an opportunity here. No, he doesn't. Has to sit in behind Matty Rudd, but Ruddo just applying a little bit of pressure. I think Ruddo wouldn't mind leading this race. Just watching the drivers currently working their way through. Snav seems to have got away, but here comes Swargy. Looks like he's got a nice undercut on JPH out of that final corner. Through he goes. Swargy puts himself back into the top 5. JPH definitely not the type of driver who's going to want to be giving up here. Just puts Swargy under a little bit of pressure, but he'll know he wants to try and work his way up to the back of Snav once again, try and make another challenge, maybe take an opportunity. Of getting past Snav in 4th potentially, whether those two trip over one another. So Fox 40 doing well to hang on to this group. Then there's D Hartley, then it's Danzo, then it's Bertus, and then it's Tim. Nice slide from Tim through turn 5. And Bruce Lee's got the gap back down to less than a second, so this is good, credible work from Bruce Lee. He's really put himself into some consistent lap times recently. 56.4 on the last 2 laps. And this one, he goes even quicker, 56.2. Finding a bit of time on the front duo at the moment. So this is shaping up to be a very interesting final 12 minutes of this race. And I agree, Hirokran putting a comment in there saying that Swargy, if he can keep it together, isn't out of this. And that's absolutely the case. You know, the gap is only 4 seconds, and this is a very short lap around here. You know, if the front 3 decide they want to start fighting, which is very, very capable of doing around this circuit, then they will do. Here comes Swargy, looking to the inside, not quite. The Betty Swallock's driver in front of him, putting up a staunch defence. Swargy just going to have to be patient. So Fox 40's in 6th place, so JPH has made a mistake on that last lap. We haven't seen it. He's dropped down to 7th. Might put him with an opportunity for the reverse grid race in the minis. For JPH, see how he gets on. A little bit of a drift through the final corner. He's got to be wary of D Hartley, Danzo and Bertus lurking in the wings. Tim as well. Oh, look at Matty Rudd under pressure from Ruddo 24, the championship leader, of course. Looking for every which way possible to try and find his way through that purple car in front of him. I don't think Ruddo's at his full maximum attack just yet. He'll want to try and find the most efficient way to get past. Here he is in the slipstream. And as you can see, just sticking in behind. Any other driver would probably put their nose out. Just have a little look, but Ruddo working with his sibling. To try and pull away from that chasing pack, which still has Bruce Lee in 3rd. But Bruce Lee now will have a new challenge ahead of him. He'll have to make sure that he can keep this pace up. You know, 56, low 56s are very strong. But Snav, I've got to say, really impressive drive so far from Snav. We're just coming on to that halfway point. Really positive driving from him, you know, in the 56s. Not far away from the fastest lap at all. Only 2.5 tenths. That's a very good drive from Snav. Can he, though, hold off Swargy behind him? That is the question. Swargy there in 5th place. Silver Fox in 6th. JPH still got D Hartley tracking him. And both of these drivers been in the 56s already today. And then Sir Bertus has, as has Danzo, so everybody got into the 56s. Tim's almost there. Got to say fair play to Tim. Matty Rudd. 2.5 tenths is effectively the gap to his brother. Less than that now. Just watching what Matty Rudd will do against Ruddo 24. Will he take a harder defence? He probably will do, because Matty Rudd just slightly alongside was Ruddo then. Pulled back in before the final corner. It's a thrilling contest so far. 8.5 minutes to go. Look at Ruddo looking to the outside now, eh? Oh, Matty Rudd goes a little bit deep. This is his chances, Ruddo. Can he get underneath him? He can do. They're going to be alongside going into turn 2, then turn 3. Who's going to brave it out on the brakes? Matty Rudd does. On the inside line, and Matty Rudd just about squeezes through. Ruddo gets the drive back through, but Matty Rudd squeezes him off out and out the way, and that just brings Bruce Lee Harding right back into it. And I have to say, Snav driving, as I think has almost taken Swargy out of the running here. Everybody else doing what I thought they'd be doing. But it comes down to Matty Rudd now. And these two, both Rudds will realise this, is that they cannot fight too hard. Bruce Lee's right there with them. And if they spend too much time bickering, it will be Bruce Lee going through and on to winning. A really good driver, really good pressure being applied from the championship leader. Swargy gets himself... Oh, that Snav has gone off, and Swargy both went off there. I'm not quite certain what happened between the two drivers, but Snav was off the road and Swargy looked like he'd stopped, so gap out to 7 seconds, and that might have just ruined their chances of getting onto a podium if either of the three in front, or any of the three in front, slipped up. Hirokram saying, never mind. Did see your prediction there, Hirokram. And Ruddo's just glued to that rear lip spoiler of Matty Rudd in the Fugu Z. Which way will Ruddo... Where will Ruddo try to overtake would be a big question. You know, turn 4 is an opportunity if you get a good run. We saw that a couple of laps ago. That is a chance for him. Maybe down into turn 8 at the hairpin if he can get a good run. Keeps a tighter line through turn 6. It'll have to be something brave if he wanted to go past Matty Rudd through there, but these are all options for him that he's going to have to think about in the next 6 minutes. Not long to go in this first race of the night. You can see he's going to pull alongside almost going into the final corner, and Ruddo now thinking about different lines he needs to take to get back past. On the brakes, 5.5 minutes to go almost. It's good racing between these two, been nice and clean, running line astern effectively. Get Ruddo trying to go around the outside at turn 4. Can't get through there. It's Bruce Lee. Snav. Swargy's back within a second. Both of them losing that momentum after the initial contact. Not quite sure what happened between them. It'd be interesting to see what happened after the race. There's still Fox, JPH. Steve Hartley's still tracking JPH in front of him. Bertus, Danzo and Tim. Oh, Tim's just lost it. It's a shame. Tim been running quite well up until that point. A look at Ruddo trying to look for a potential move up the inside at turn 1. Oh, there's that little bit of contact potentially between the two. And I think it was. I think Ruddo realised, just backed out of that for a moment. But he'll be right back on the attack again going through turn 4. You're watching here, Ruddo chucks the car in through turn 5. Oh, a little bit of contact again. Ruddo's going to have to just back off that. He can't take that position. Can't push the pass, of course. And Bruce Lee's right there again, keeping his nose clean. Ruddo still has the fastest lap. But Matty Rudd doing his absolute utmost to try and take a win. Again on the Thursday night as Ruddo goes to make a lunge up the inside. Can he get it stopped in time at turn 1? Not quite, and Matty Rudd jumps back through, runs a bit wide on the exit. That was the type of move that I was talking about before. Ruddo needed to do something surprising. He did that at turn 1, but he just ran a little bit too deep and Matty Rudd was straight underneath him and is back in the lead. Good racing between these two. Really great to watch. Bruce Lee's got a perfect view. Oh, Matty Rudd a little bit wide coming out of the turn 8. Less, just coming up to 3 minutes remaining. Here we go into the final corner. Oh, Matty Rudd taking a little bit of a different line. And Ruddo just sliding the car out. He's got a good run as well. So Matty Rudd, will he go defensive? Well, he does, but he doesn't shut the door properly. And that looks like it could be quite an easy position for Ruddo. And it is. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I thought Matty Rudd had got across quicker than that. But Ruddo 24 leads the way. And now, 2.5 minutes to go. Matty Rudd has got to pick himself up and try and attack his sibling. But you see Ruddo's already pulling away. Swargy's still in 5th place for that matter. Look at Bruce Lee. He can sense blood. On the brakes, down into 3rd gear, 4th for Matty Rudd and Ruddo. He can't quite make an advantage pay. Bruce Lee just staying in behind. Snav still ahead of Swargy. Silfox 40's done well in this race, I have to say. Quite underestimated race. There's Danzo and there's Tim having the time of his life in 11th. That's what it's all about. But Ruddo just almost now a second clear. Once he got through, that was it. And Matty Rudd has to try and fend off the advances of Bruce Lee Harding. Down into turn 8 again. Nice tight exit from Bruce Lee. Gets on the power really well. And this is now going to be a drag race towards turn 9. Bruce Lee on the inside doesn't have just as much momentum as Matty Rudd, but he will have that inside line. Goes on the brakes down to 3rd gear, chucks the car through, and he takes 2nd position. Keeps it nice and tight through the corner. Will he go straight across the defender? There's going to be 2 more laps after this one. Or 1 more lap after this one, rather. So this is the penultimate lap for these drivers. Snav and Swargy will probably get another opportunity. So Fox 40 potentially not though. But Bruce Lee gets himself up into 2nd place. This will help him in the overall championship standings. A bit of a wiggle from Matty Rudd. He'll be a bit annoyed with that. Just a small lapse, maybe in concentration, just left the door open for Ruddo and through he went. And that's it. Matty Rudd still seeking that victory on Thursday night. Stav's got Swargy all over the back of him with a couple of seconds to go. Stav probably trying to work this out so he can stay in front, but he's all over the curb. Will Swargy get underneath him? He does at the final corner, and Swargy gets through. Snav gets through. Silver Fox 40 has seen a checkered flag, so it's game over for him. JPH, D Hartley, Bertus, Danzo and Tim will take those positions. Matty Rudd slipped backwards. Swargy up to 4th. I think Snav was trying to play the game. It didn't quite work out, so he's only going to have 1 last chance, but it's a tale of perseverance once again from Ruddo. Certainly always going to be a driver who's going to keep knocking on the door trying to get past, and he paid off again. Just a few minutes to go, couple of laps left. Ruddo comes around this final corner after battling with his sibling all the way through the race, and it's Ruddo 24 who wins the first race of the night. Great result for him. Bruce Lee 2nd, Matty Rudd 3rd, hits the wall in frustration. Swargy 4th. By the looks of it, Tim sees the checkered flag, and Snav in 5th place. But Ruddo 24, your winner of the first race tonight. Well done to him. Another victory on Thursday nights for Ruddo, and takes a commanding lead in both the overall and the Fugu Z championships. We're going to have a little breather for 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll be back shortly for the minis. So we return back for the second race of the evening in this Mini Cooper S, the classic from 1965 of course, and our drivers getting themselves a little bit of practice currently around this very twisty and technical Tsukuba circuit, and we're just waiting for the drivers to be ready. Not sure who this person is who's joined in. Chatterboy HD_MLG official team. Not sure who that is, but in any case, I'm sure things will get sorted out shortly. There's Snav in his Mini there, the black Betty Swallows. JPH doing the politically and democratically correct thing there to say we're in league racing, and Chatboy has decided to say hello back. It's like the start of a very bad fan fiction, but nonetheless I'm sure it'll get resolved eventually with a bit of teenage angst. Looking at the other drivers though, Silver Fox out on circuit, Tim still running his Mr. Bean car, Swoggy in the wall, JPH just waiting for everybody to get themselves sorted out. Oh, Matty Rudd has at least set the provisional fastest lap as Bruce Lee decides to pull the handbrake going through turn number 3. Fires it off the track. But it's going to be interesting to see how the Minis get on around this circuit. It's very tight. It's much more a circuit for the Minis than it is the Fugus. But a few more opportunities for the drivers to battle each other, make some overtakes. But we're ready to go. Hopefully Jordan is too. And Danzo also coming out as well of the pit lane. Everybody else needs to make sure they're out on circuit. Danzo just brakes, gets out of the way of Ruddo, and stops at the pit lane. Gets himself up to speed in the wrong gear, so that would have been inconvenient. Chaboy still seems to be here, so I think it's what JPH is waiting on. We need Suburtus to also get out of the pits. And the race starting now, so it will be Tim on pole position for race 2. And I believe potentially Danzo alongside him, judging from the results earlier. And there we go. JPH has started the final. Who will take victory in this mini race? 15 minutes will be on the right hand side shortly, but this is it. Race 2, round 3 here at the Greddy Cooper Z League on this tight technical Japanese circuit. It is Tim on the right hand side in that Mr. Bean inspired livery Mini. Then it's Danzo, Suburtus and D Hartley, who always runs well in the Minis. Watch out for those two on the second row of the grid. It's 15 minutes on the right hand side, and let's see who gets off to the best launch on the way to turn 1. And the race is live from Tsukuba for race 2. Looks like a relatively straightforward start for Danzo, and he's going to fire himself into the lead. Tim moves over to the left hand side. It wasn't that bad actually for Tim. He could be second going into turn 1, but will D Hartley make a move up the inside? He does, and D Hartley is up into second. Tim fighting with JPH for third place. JPH up to third. Has he got the momentum coming out of turn 1? He does indeed. That's Suburtus on the grass going through turn 3 there. JPH and Tim still side by side. Danzo gets himself a little bit of an excursion early on. Off an adventure he goes. Danzo could be leading the way at the end of this lap. There's JPH. Tim's in 4th. Snav and Matty Rudd. Matty Rudd with a great launch up into 6th. Wonderful opening couple of corners from him. Snav gives Tim a push in the back. It's not going to help Snav out. It's going to give Matty Rudd an opportunity to go into 5th place, which he takes with great aplomb. And Matt Snav there. We'll just watch as the drivers go into turn number 9, the final corner. Tim brakes a little bit earlier, and that allows Tim to drop down to 5th place. Matty Rudd, what a start this has been. He wants to make amends for the race just prior to this one, up the inside into third place. Danzo leads a lap for the first time as Snav and JPH make contact. Tim still running in 6th. Actually fights up to 5th place. Great fighting all going on around the circuit here. Zwargi still back there in 8th place. Rudo not really found his way through. But Danzo leads a race, which is great news for him. D. Hartley there in 2nd place. He's under pressure from Matty Rudd already. There's Tim fighting with JPH again. That's Matty Rudd up the inside at turn 8. This is a glorious chance for Matty Rudd to take a win this season. But D. Hartley, however, fighting back, not giving him an inch of tarmac until that moment. As you can see, the groups of trios going on through here, but Matty Rudd gets himself up to 2nd. He's on the back of that green Mini in front of him. Will he make a dive at turn 1? He will indeed. Matty Rudd up the inside. Danzo trying to give him space. Arguably gives him too much space, and D. Hartley's going to try and look to go through, but he can't get the momentum needed off the corner. Snav is in 4th, then it's Zwargi. Tim doing a great job fighting in the pack here. He's up the inside looking at 5th place. There's JPH, it's still Fox 40. Rudo just can't get through at the minute, nor could Bruce Lee Hardin and Subertis in 11th place, but it's Matty Rudd with a great chance here to pull away from the pack. Danzo and D. Hartley 2nd and 3rd. Snav putting in a good defensive shift as always as Tim goes deep at turn 8 and he loses out to Zwargi and JPH as a result. A lot of support for Hirakram from Matty. Support from Hirakram for Matty, I should be saying there. As Rudo and Silver Fox 40 fighting over 8th position. The overall championship leader. They're on a bit of a torrid time at the moment as Tim runs wide at the final corner. Just about keeps it out of the wall. Gets overtaken by Rudo in the process. Will Tim get passed by Bruce Lee? He does indeed. And Tim enjoying his time in the fights here. He's down to 10th, but this has been great from Tim. Really good to watch. Looking at the drivers elsewhere. Still a big fight going on for 2nd position. Danzo's got that place. Danzo just hanging on at the moment. D. Hartley wants another position. He wants to get on the podium. On the brakes down into turn 8. Oh, you can see D. Hartley tried to get on the power a little bit earlier than Danzo, but just mistimed it. Will he get any momentum coming out of the final corner? Everybody else in sort of groups of 2s at the moment. Snav and Zwargi together again. Zwargi's sick of the sight of the back of Snav. And Rudo plastered all over the back of JPH's Mini bumper. In fact, Zwargi trying to go to the outside line into turn 1. Might get underneath Snav here, but he runs a little bit alongside him. A little bit of contact through the corner. Snav's still going to be there for turn 4. Will he try and make a lunge? He's on the inside. Zwargi gives him the room. A little bit given back from Snav to get that position back. All's fair in minis in terms of that contact between the 2. Look at the fight for 2nd place. D. Hartley's still trying to get past Danzo. He knows he's quicker than Danzo. He gets a good exit this time. And he's going to be alongside. Rudo's also trying to move past as well up into 4th place. It looks like he's got there. This is important for D. Hartley. He's got to try and get past, otherwise Rudo will get up to the pair of them. Danzo leaves the door open. And D. Hartley moves through. A little bit of contact between the 2. And D. Hartley moves up to 2nd. Matty Rudd 2 seconds to the good at the moment. D. Hartley looking for that first podium this season, as is Danzo. But now they're going to have to fight off Rudo and Zwargi and Snav, who's personal vendetta between these 2 at the moment, of Zwargi and Snav. Together all race long. A little bit of contact there. Nothing wrong with that. No one at fault. Bruce Lee just seems to have been gapped here. I think he's just been on the wrong side of the momentum in the minis, and he's down in 8th place. Bit of a quiet one for him potentially. It's Silver Fox, it's Bertus and Tim in last place, but still part of the fun. Matty Rudd still leads. Hartley's there in 2nd. Let's see now that he's in front of Danzo. Can he put some consistent lap time together? Can he pull Danzo along with him? Potentially. Let's see the times. We come around this final corner. Let's see. Matty Rudd, fastest man on circuit. 1 minute 2.3 that lap. 3 tenths slower, but a new personal best from Hartley and from Danzo. Danzo will benefit from running in Ruddo's, rather D. Hartley's slipstream. Oh, as I say that, he runs a little bit deep out of turn 1. And Ruddo could see that gap closing down. Snav in 5th position. JPH, Swargy, Bruce Lee, Silver Fox, Bertus and Tim. But the fight right now, the closest battle on track is for 2nd place. I think this is going to become quite quickly from a 2-car fight to a 3-car fight for those final 2 places on the podium. We're just coming up to halfway through the race now. You can see Danzo closing the gap, but he's not close enough. Ruddo made a little mistake coming out of the penultimate corner. He's just dropped back further away from those 2 in front of him. Snav still in front of JPH. Swargy can't get past him tonight. Must be fed up, Swargy. But the Mini's proving to be a lot of fun to watch, as D. Hartley and Danzo demonstrate, running in the podium places. Ruddo gained 2 tenths on that last lap, but personal bests from Hartley and Danzo, and again improving from D. Hartley, finding a little bit more speed, pulling Danzo along with him. Ruddo slightly quicker than these 2, but it's just going to take him a little bit more time to close up to the back. And what doesn't help Ruddo either is the fact that Danzo has the slipstream from D. Hartley in front of him, and it's just mitigating the advances that he's making onto the back of those 2 Minis in front of him. He just can't get close enough. And if they keep running in the same manner that they do as Danzo slides the car out wide through turn 1, that won't help his cause. But if they keep doing that, it's going to make it even more awkward for Ruddo to get up to the back of the mill, though he's just set his first sector as his best time so far. As Snav, he's got JPH and Swargy all over the back of him, fighting over 6th place. Swargy up the inside through turn 5. Get 2 Minis through there, no problem, but JPH stays in front. Swargy with the fastest lap of the race there on that last lap. There's Silver Fox, Bertus and Tim having a fight over the top 10. Tim maybe make a little lunge into the penultimate corner. He can't quite do that there. But it's still 2nd and 3rd as they were. JPH and Swargy and Snav all together as well. Coming up to 5 minutes remaining. Great fighting all over the circuit. Bruce Lee doing his utmost, but he just can't get close enough. I think one of the things, a comment coming in from Hirocam there saying is Bruce off the pace. I think one of the things that people don't realise is the slipstream around here in the Minis is quite important. It's very much a train around this circuit, and it all comes from this final run towards the final corner on the penultimate one. A lot of slipstream and time to be gained, and that's why Ruddo's finding it only now as he just got onto the back of Danzo and D. Hartley, because they were using each other to just tow each other along. D. Hartley, though, just looks like he's lost the advances of Danzo, which is going to give him a little bit of a breather with just 4.5 minutes to go. Can Danzo hold on? That is a big test for him now. Can he hold off Thursday night champion in the past, Ruddo? Can he do that? It's going to be a big ask of him, but it'd be amazing if he could. There's JPH in 6th place. Swargy's dropped back a little bit. Bruce Lee's now caught up almost to within a second of the group in front of him. If he can get into the slipstream, he might just have an opportunity with a few laps to go. In the battle for the wooden spoon, I just saw it at the back there. Suburtis and Tim still fighting hard over 10th. Ruddo's all over the back. Is he going to go around the outside of Danzo? A big wiggle from Danzo is just going to give Ruddo this inside line for turn 8. He can't brake later, but he can keep the car on the inside, and Ruddo goes through. Danzo will not want to give that position up easily though. Look at Danzo's going to look to the inside. Ruddo won't allow that move to happen. 3 and a bit minutes remaining. Snav there in 5th place still. He's had a great defensive showing again from Snav. Swargy and Bruce Lee has joined in the fun. The fastest lap of the race from Bruce Lee. What was Hero Crab saying before in the comments? There's the lap time. And that's what the slipstream can do around here. He's got 3 minutes to try and make an impression on the cars in front of him. See whether he can do that. Danzo just trying to stick with Ruddo if he can. Gotta say, it's been a good race from Danzo and really impressive. Led a couple of laps early on, first time this season. Still in the fight for a podium. 2.5 minutes remaining. Probably enough time for 3 laps for these drivers. Out on circuit. Matty Rudd doing exactly what he needs to do in the lead at the moment. Absolutely pushing the car to the limit there. He's just consistently kept at a nice pace. He's not been outright fastest, but he did exactly what he needed to do early on in the race, and he's just got to bring this home now. There's Hartley in 2nd. Ruddo has not shaken off Danzo, and Bruce Lee's got himself up into 7th place. There's Swargy all over the grass. Something's happened to Swargy. That's not worked out for him tonight. So Bruce Lee gains a position back. Can he make any impression now on JPH? Chucks the car through turn 5. Nice line through there. It's a lot closer. He probably won't make the dive at turn 8. He'll take a wider line. What can he do with that? Danzo just can't quite get close enough yet. I think Danzo won't be afraid to try and throw his Mini up the inside if he gets close enough. He won't hesitate, will Danzo. He's just a little bit too far back currently. Hartley just trying to hold on to 2nd place because Ruddo's now within a second. A little bit of a dodgy lap from Hartley on that last one. Just brought him back to the interests of Ruddo. As it stands, isn't going to win this race. There's Snav, JPH and Bruce Lee fighting over that 6th position. Oh, you see how close they are. What about the fight in 10th place? Look at Tim and Bertus all over the back of one another. Tim looking to the outside line. Then tries to cut back underneath. And Tim not quite there yet. Will these two... I don't think these two are going to see the checkered flag, so this is going to be the last lap for these two. Matty Rudd, though, he's got 1st place. Hartley's there in 2nd. Ruddo's 3rd. Danzo, this is the closest he's been. Chucks the car through the final corner. He's going to have 3 real overtaking opportunities. He's a little bit too far back, but will he attempt it into turn 1? He's going to try. He's going to run out a little bit too wide. Can he keep the momentum up through the corner? He can. He's still got a chance later on around this lap. JPH still fending off from Bruce Lee hard, and this is now the final lap. And Bertus is going to take 10th place. Tim went off the road. He tried it at the final corner. Didn't quite work out. JPH there in 6th place. He's still holding off the advances of Bruce Lee. Ruddo looks like he's going to hold off Danzo as it stands. Danzo, as late as he dared, tries to clip the inside curb. Got a good run, did Danzo, has to be said. But we're going to just quickly cut to Matty Rudd because this has been a long time coming for him. It's well deserved. He's going to round this final corner. Keep it nice and tidy through this final corner, Matty Rudd, because you are a winner on Thursday night. It's Matty Rudd who takes the win. His first of the season in the Minis. A great result. D. Hartley for his first podium. Ruddo in 3rd. Great effort from Danzo in 4th. Snav 5th. JPH just holds on to 6th with Bruce Lee 7th. Swargy in 8th place. And Silver Fox 4D, the final car to see the checkered flag. But Matty Rudd is a winner. And that is a statement in itself. Well deserved. Matty Rudd, congratulations, and congratulations in the chat there from a number of comments. He wins it with a great start, controlled the race once he got into the lead. Congratulations to him. Great result for D. Hartley with second place as well. Do not underestimate that drive. That was really well done. Third went the way of Ruddo in the end. He didn't win tonight in this race in the minis, but he had a good fight through. Danzo, unlucky not to get the podium, but it was really well driven. Gotta say, really impressive from Danzo with the way he managed to keep on the back of the drivers. In the fight for 10th, Bertis just about got through, but it was good to see Tim having some good fights with the pack. That was certainly pleasing to watch. But in any case, that is it from tonight's races here in the Greddy Cooper Z League. Really good fun for all the drivers involved. Round 4 will be here next week. This will be certainly a good event at round 4. Where we'll be racing next week. Which you will see then at the time, because I'm not quite certain what the next track will be. But, however, really great racing tonight. Do tune in next week, same time on Thursday nights. But as always, I'm NXTGEN53 Synopsis, your commentator on the Thursday night console leagues here with Next Gen Racing. And wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you soon.